Welcome everyone. We're live again this afternoon. I thought it would be a good opportunity to go live again this afternoon because I don't know if I'll have time to make an update video. So we are just going to put an update video at the end of this video, right? So we're going to see where the market closes at later and going to give a little 15-minute breakdown to the end of this video. So if you're not watching this live, just tune into the last 15 minutes where we're going to break down every stock that we do cover on this channel, including Nvidia. Big news coming out for Nvidia today. So we are going to look into this. We're going to turn on that after hours, right? So we can look at the after hours here, the extended trading hours, see what's going on with that. We'll have to see going forward. We did just get the, we actually just put out the Patreon video, which included, oh, sorry, I got a text message. Go live. Okay, good. Just making sure my girls are taken care of. They're all good. The video that we put out on Patreon, which is the link down in the description, we're bringing back those weekly updates. Okay, so those weekly updates will be brought back. And starting today, we're starting it right now. So Tuesday or Wednesday, every single week, we are going to be putting out that video. Or if we see something funky on a Monday, we're going to put that out there as well. But I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. And we're going to talk about some things that we were talking about, how Apple had an opportunity here. Apple had an opportunity here, and I kept mentioning over and over and over again about how this really looked like Apple was going to pull back from this area, and it looks like we're getting that pullback, but how could we get screwed, right? How could we get screwed? And that's what we're really paying attention to. I got the boys down here with me today. And so really we were looking at this 30-minute chart, and I was just saying, hey, yeah, there's potential here still for some kind of drop. This looks like it needs some kind of pullback. The 2-hour, I believe, is already crossed. Okay, so we're seeing that rejection come in, and this is a good little trade. Like, this is a good example of a trade because you go from 192.30, I believe that's where you would enter the position. Now we're seeing that fall down. Now, if this is going to screw you over, what's going to happen? Well, the 15 minutes going to be able to go back into positive territory, and that's very key here. As you are negative, you can see some kind of pop and then see that drop again. So if you're being diligent with this stuff, if you're able to see a 30-minute crossing up into positive territory, that means that you could come test this high. It means you can come make a new one. So we're paying attention to Apple going forward, but thank you to the Patreon members. SPY seeing a little bit of a drop off as well, which is something we mentioned, and we were looking at how the put and call ratio looked before this move. Okay, this is where you can pay attention to two things. If we're going to knock on the door once, knock twice, knock 3 times, well, that's usually when you want to push through. But we noticed the divergences, but not just that, we noticed that the put call ratio is still very much to the call side here. So that means for the algorithms, it would be cheaper for them to sell it off. And if people keep buying calls here in this area while we are falling off, then the algorithm is going to notice that and say puts are still cheap, and we might even see more selling continue. So we're paying attention to these things going on into today. Let's go look at Nvidia. Nvidia, same thing, right? Trying to knock through our $958.05 level. And we mentioned that back here, and we went up and tested it. That was just a cool moment live. It's always cool when you see resistance come in live. Thank you guys for liking the video and all that good stuff. We gotta keep those likes coming in. We're back to being new, right? We're back to being new. So looking at the live chat here, welcome Miles, welcome JS, John. Haven't been on in a few days. Hope you're enjoying the new house, bro. Yeah, it's going well. It's just there's still a lot to get done. My office isn't set up, but I'm looking at how things seem to be here. And right before I got off of the live video this morning, I was live for an hour to really test it. I was like, volatility looks like it wants to pop. Look at that, volatility pops. So we noticed the signals. We just said, hey, volatility looks like it wants to pop. Boom, it pops. Okay, so we're noticing 30-minute divergences, 2-hour divergences all at the same time when you see those things on the SPY, and we have a put-call ratio that's still to the call side. So that tells me even the algorithms will be behind you on this, and we may see a little bit more significant drop. Now, we do have Nvidia earnings that can really shake things up, because then we all have to react based on that data, and you're going to see the put-call ratio could change dramatically very, very quickly. Sorry if the sound quality is not the best. Not the best, but I do have my mic set up. It's just I don't have very much in this room right now, so it feels very echoey. I'm literally like in a blank room with a desk right now. It's kind of creepy. But thank you guys for joining. We're going to be watching this a little bit after hours to see what is going on with that. I can go about 30 minutes after the market close, and then I have to hop off. My new couch is getting here today. Super pumped about it. I've never gotten leather before, and I got leather this time for the first time in my life. Who's a leather fan? Who's a leather fan? Thank you for telling me it sounds good, King of Light. Appreciate it. And you guys know I'd appreciate anytime, any likes that you give. I mean, we gotta get this channel back to booming. We're gonna go over something that we were talking about in the video we put out this afternoon, which was right before all this happened. These videos come out during market hours on Patreon. Okay, so they're very useful. The videos during market hours, very, very useful because then you can actually react in real time. It's not me looking back at a chart and then telling you what went on, right? And acting like I knew exactly what was going to happen with that chart. No, it's literally during market hours, we tell you about some stuff. And we said what? About AMC. We said, well, right now you have a 30-minute that is negative, but it's right next to the center line. And if that curls up, positivity can be there. We see that positivity come in and boom, we start to head to the upside. The only other thing we mentioned was if you're going to see downside, 437 was a number we marked off way up here. Actually, we marked that off when we made this line too. But way up here in this area is where we were mentioning that. And that looked like the line in the sand that, you know, I don't think the buyers want the short sellers to be able to push that to. Okay, if you get through that level, it's a little worrisome. They might start to make some money back. So this here hurts them pretty good. And it's cool to see how you can look at a meme stock. You can look at something going nuts, going bonkers, talked about all the time, and you can still look at it from a technical standpoint and say, should I be in this play? Well, right here it should say downside. Now it says upside, and you're about to go positive. Now we have to go positive for that to prove itself. Look who it is. It was awful. The move was awful. All my friends had like bridal showers and stuff, so I moved everything myself, and my wife has this thumb injury, so she can't lift things very well. So I try to lift as much stuff as possible, and I literally, you guys know, my shoulders dislocate. So I had to tape up my shoulders and get to work, and that's why it took days and days and days. And now we're organizing as of now, but we got the main area organized. We get our new couch, and we're gonna send baby girl off to grandma's, off to Abuela's house, so that we can hang out a little bit and just like sit back and breathe for a sec. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me, and you're still subscribed. So I appreciate that because I know that this information can be very helpful, and I'm really appreciative that you guys show up every single day. And so when I take a few days off or something like that, that's where it's like, hey, at least maybe you can have those skills too. A lot of people took the course, and we're going to make that course. If volatility really starts to scale up, we're going to make that course. We're adding to it. First of all, I'm going to have my area to myself to be able to actually add to it now. So we're going to talk about how the first video I want to put out in that additional content is how to not get screwed, right? How to pay attention to how you can get screwed so you don't get screwed. And I think that's very, very good. As of right now, AMC, technically, that could be a higher low. If you go positive here, you might go very positive. So we'll have to see what happens with that. GME struggling on the day. This one we more so talked about on the 15-minute. The 30-minute just tells you, hey, it's a 50-50 flip still. But GME, we were talking about how it's right at that center point, and now you're getting really tight, and you're in positive territory. So this is really where you want to see that start to scale up. I think a big move is coming in the next couple of days for GME, but is that going to be dramatically into negative territory, or are we going to continue and be able to break through some resistance here? We'll pay attention to that going forward. And if I do take a minute, you guys, I don't have my full setup, so I'm going to have to like look down and read through chat for a second in order to stick with you guys. Tesla, ooh, that is a rough one. That is a rough day for Tesla. We talked about this a little bit in the video this afternoon, but Tesla, right, we were talking a lot about how there seems to be better trade setups, better position setups. And I don't think Tesla is the best position setup. But what would Tesla do? Well, it's going to break. If it breaks through this resistance here, or this trend line here, what can happen? Well, we can roll over and go negative on a 2-hour, and that would be very, very bad for Tesla. So Tesla not looking the best in this area. Amazon, another one. This one, not the best trade setup. It's just not the best trade setup as of right now. Moving is never fun. Once we have our little, like right now, so my office is just a big room down here. So I'm still in a basement, unfortunately. My office isn't upstairs, but it allows me to, the room's like soundproof. So I can talk about whatever I want. I can, be as loud as I want. I'm not going to affect the baby's naps or anything like that. But we're going to turn it into a big gaming station because we're gamers. We like to game together. We like to play video games, and we haven't been able to do that in a long time. So we are going to, and we're 2 minutes away from Abuela, so very good. But we're going to be turning this into a gaming room like we've always wanted, so cool lights and stuff like that. I thought about putting a light behind me that's like, can switch between red and green so you can tell when I'm bullish or bearish on the SPY or something like that. I thought that'd be kind of cool. AMC new drop, and yeah, and like this stuff, I'm not saying like, oh, this stuff has to go insane. And the main thing here is, remember, I just showed you that 30-minute. The real confirmation of that 30-minute going positive is going to be this 2-hour. If that 30-minute can really get like positive here, then this 2-hour will cross, and then you might be off to the races. Look at that, 2-hour in positive territory. You could see a big push higher. So what would I do, by the way, and I was mentioning this morning, if anyone's playing these meme stocks, you just want to go back in history and you want to find on the RSI the highest reading it got. And I believe the highest reading for AMC was about 95 to 96. And I would just mark that off on a 2-hour and then say, hey, if it hits that line, then that's most likely where we're going to see some kind of pullback. That's at least what I saw. WSM was obliterated. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, also, we need to look. Oh, my God. And this is kind of what I'm saying about AMC, actually. This is kind of what I'm saying about AMC. I think AMC has the potential to do something like this, where it rips, hits over 1,000, and then just pulls right back down. I think that's possible. Now, last week we did mention gold, right? We mentioned gold on the Patreon, somewhere around this level here, around $22, I believe. And I was like, that would be a good level to take profit. That would be a good level to take profit. There's 30-minute stuff in here. But overall, this thing dropping off now, gold looks like it's going to drop down. What I want to see is 217.21, and then I'll see what's going to happen from there. But 2-hour by the center line, right, can come down by the center line, curls up anytime. Hey, more positivity for gold, but as of right now, dropping to lower levels. And thank you guys so much for subscribing. Really do appreciate it. I have to kind of, there it is, Julie. I have to kind of read it on here. Cool idea about the red and green lights. That way it's kind of obvious. It's like, well, am I bullish or bearish here? And, you know, I'm going to say that when how the SPY looks like this, that light might be pretty red, but you have to pay attention to what's actually being said in the market or something like, you know, you have to pay attention to what's being said every day, because this is very bullish. But am I bullish here? No, I'd be bullish more down here. I'd be bullish, you know, at lower levels. So that's more how I am bullish and bearish. As far as, I have to see if I want to make it a day-to-day thing, or if we're just going to have like, you know, strobe light Monday, bullish or bearish for the week, maybe. 2-hour sell signal coming in for the SPY. So we were right to call this. If you guys were here for the live video this morning, we were mentioning all the divergences. We were saying 30-minute divergences across the way. You can start a negative trend here on the 30-minute. Those are steep divergences, okay? Now, the reason we could say, hey, this is most likely to head down is because now we know. Now, because I've done so much research into AMC and we're seeing these, you know, tiny penny stocks start to just rip to the upside because of the short sellers getting kind of getting it handed to them. They have to get out of positions before that cat system comes in, is what the overall narrative is here. If that's true and they're having to get out, then that would mean that the algorithms are really what control the market at key points. So when you see a key thing like this, a triple top with big divergences, all you have to do is go, look, are puts cheap? And they still are cheap, by the way. They still are cheap, by the way, because calls, we're to the call side right now. So really, until we see those puts get up towards this area, that's when we would say the calls are cheaper here. So we're paying attention, but this one really helped us out, I think, with this big drop here. Right, we called this out somewhere around here, right? 530, 531, all the way down to 520. 750-ish, 527.56. Earnings reports at 5, so we'll just watch the aftermarket for a little bit, give that 15-minute breakdown, and then we'll talk about it in the morning. I probably won't be able to make a YouTube video tonight. We still have a lot to do with the couches coming in. Thankfully, they're going to move it wherever I want. They're not going to make me move it because my shoulders are dying. Another retailer that forecasts us all to be broke by year end, gapped up and has no bounces all day. That is wild, Laws. That is wild. Yeah, I wish I was paying closer attention to it. Like I said, guys, you're going to have to give me a little bit of slack because I've been moving so much that I haven't been able to pay full attention to the stock market. I've come in at parts and paid attention at times, but that's why I don't really have any trade setups or trade positions. The only one I'm building right now is UVXY. I kind of built UVXY at this turn and this turn, and we're starting to see it, prove a little bit here. But I just want to pay attention to how I can get screwed. So if the 15-minute curls up and goes positive, that would mean that this most likely is not like flagging or some kind of dead bounce. This might be a recovery back to test this high, and that's where I can say, hey, I'll get out and then get right back in, right? If this just does this and then goes, oh, okay, I get out. Okay, now I'm back in. And then maybe that's the real move for that position, just to make sure that these algorithms, that these market makers, they're not taking any of my money. Now, another thing I wanted to mention about Patreon, a lot of people saying, or not a lot of people, one person really mentioning like, hey, post the daily expected moves while I'm moving and stuff. I just wanted to say this real quick. This channel is dedicated to helping you learn and helping you make money in any market and putting you in a higher probability to make money in any market. And if you are trying to day trade, 95% of day traders lose money. It's like 95 or 92% or something like that lose money over time. And that's because also it's not just 95% chance of losing money once. It's 95% chance every single day. Okay, every day is mutually exclusive, and that is why I will not be doing that. I'm not looking to teach you guys how to be a 5% out of 95%, but you can be, going with that 68% chance, and then we can do stuff like that, and we can put you in a higher probability to be successful in the market. So day trading, I won't be talking too much about day trading ever. Day trading is not what we discuss on Patreon. I do not encourage day trading. There are times where a play like this sets up and then boom, you see a big drop and you make a good amount of money and you say, hey, I'm going to take my profit, and it was a day trade. There are times where that will happen, but to be a day trader all the time is putting yourself in a losing environment. It's pretty much, going to the casino and playing a slot machine. Like the worst way to make money at a casino, I believe, is like a slot machine, right? So what we're doing is we're playing blackjack and we're counting cards. That's what we're doing. Good afternoon, Junior. Let me say hi to some people, by the way. I miss you guys. Junior, Luke, Laws, born to win. So my UVXY play isn't, it's a position trade. So I take that a month out and then I say, hey, if I see a good drop, where's my overall target to get that going? Well, 2 hour already crossed. So I want to see if this daily crosses over. If this daily crosses over, I can say, okay, I'm probably going to look for a test of the 20 and then I will, pull back on that overall position. If that happens quickly, I'll just take my money out so that, I have a few runners. That's overall what I'm going to do with this play. And then if this actually confirms and says crosses to the downside, then I'll go back into like a 30-minute, see if it looks like this, see if we get some kind of drop, and then that goes like this, and boom, then I take the swing trade. Then I take the swing trade and I get back into UVXY. But until that happens, right now I just have my position play. Hope you like your new plays. I do like it. So what I do is position trading. So position trading is different because it allows you time to scale into moves. A day trader is someone that's 0 DTE or trading something that I would say something like someone who only has, I would say 48 hours until expiration would be a considered day trader in my book. I know that's probably not the definition, but if you do something like that, you can lose money really fast. Whereas if you just make these plays a month out, sometimes you'll sell the same day. Sometimes you'll sell the next day. Blackjack counting cards. It's a probabilities game, trying to put the probability at least in your favor. Exactly. That's what we're doing. I'm not trying, and that's the best way to put it too. When you do a slot machine, what are you doing? You're spending a ton of money. You're losing 95% of the time, and then 5% of the time you might win more than you put in. And then maybe one out of a million times, right, you hit the lotto. And I think a lot of day traders think that they're trying to hit the lotto. Day trading around earnings, day trading around this. It's not, and I'm not trying to come at anyone. It's just not the most, and I'm not even going to say intelligent, because people can be good at it, but you have to practice it for so long. Nvidia crash, I think that's possible. I think that's possible, but I think if there is some kind of crash, like actual crash, I actually think it'll be because of AMC and GME. I actually think this has more like fundamental side information to bring down the market. And we talked about this a lot, and I think I discussed it a little bit in my afternoon update video on Patreon. This is where if this actually goes up and they are caught in some kind of short selling scandal, they will need to liquidate quickly. And what do they liquidate out of? Well, their liquidation comes from their assets. Their assets would have to go liquid so they could pay for all these things. What are their assets? Their assets are stocks that are within the SPY and within the Qs. Okay, so that is what I think could actually crash the market. Now, Nvidia having bad earnings, I think that that could give some kind of big pullback. It could give a bigger pullback. But overall, if Nvidia went down by 10% because they had one bad earnings, wouldn't you still be like, oh, Nvidia might be a buy here. Maybe they're improving things over time. That's what I would think. Palo Alto, what we'll do is we'll overall just be looking at the technicals here. Let's look at the technicals. That's a gap down. First of all, see, Palo Alto is one that I haven't paid too much attention to lately. As of right now, positive trend, no real divergences. So this could just be a pullback. And what I want to pay attention to is this curling up? Probably on the hourly. Let's go into a 30-minute. I need this 30 minutes to go positive. We've held this ground for a long time. I would think that these closing bars are very important. We see the wick over here. Once we broke out, that's really where we started to see that algorithmic buying. Just buy. So I think this level of 306 is pretty important. And that's the thing and that's why I'm kind of saying, I think Nvidia might beat. But they're going to say something bad, and you might see something like WSM, weirdly enough. You might see something like this, where you gap way up, and then you just see that thing just coast down. Like literally just slide all the way down. I think that's possible, but that's a whole bunch of I thinks. I don't know, right? So all I know is we've knocked on the door once, this 958.05. We've knocked on the door once, we've knocked on it twice. If earnings is there, well, if we gap above this, you might be seeing that take off to the upside. So I'm not playing anything around this. All-time high, commodities all-time high. So that's one thing too. XLU. Let's look at this. Remember XLU? This is our kind of crash signal. Has that crossed over on the daily yet? Has that crossed? Ooh, it looks very close. This is where we got to be a little bit careful. XLU is a crash signal. But remember, don't get faked out. Sometimes the first move is added up by a double top, and then that rips away. And this is actually the real crash signal, actually, that's been popping up over the last 3 times that we've had those crashes. You've seen XLU make a divergence or some kind of double top with divergence. Yeah, in the Fed meeting minutes, I think it's funny that the market drops because of that, if that's the actual reason. Because they, as far as what I have been reading into in the past with the Fed, did they say anything really different? They still just said higher for longer. I mean, they haven't said anything really that different. Higher for longer, higher for longer, higher for longer. Guess what, guys? Higher for longer. It's like, okay. The only reason you might say people were tricked was because, I mean, someone said that Fed speakers or Jerome Powell himself mentioned possibly cutting in September. So people might have expected a cut. They are wrong about inflation. Well, duh. Yeah, DD, yeah. I agree with you 100% on that. Well, they've been wrong about inflation the whole time we've had inflation. It's transitory. No, it's not. We're going to have a soft landing. Haven't had one yet. We're not going to have stagflation. We have stagflation. We're not going to go higher for longer. We're going higher for longer. Now we're not going to go higher for longer for much longer. We're going higher for longer, much longer. Should we flip the coin? Oh, shoot, guys. I got to go find the coin. It's in my bag. Let me go get the coin. I'll be right back. Let me go get the coin real quick. All right. Let's stick this on Nvidia on a 30-minute, and I'll be right back like 2 minutes. Hey, according to the Fed, soft landings are not transitory. So according to the Fed, soft landings are actually here's the funniest part. According to our president right now, inflation was 9% when he took over, and that's just, oh man, that guy's in no man's land. All right, I'm gonna leave you guys on this real quick. Let me go grab the coin. It'll take me 1 minute. Like the stream while you guys are here. Like the stream. Like. I'll be right back. All right, fam, we're back. We're back. Yeah, GDP is going to be very interesting to see that reaction. But just know this. Algorithms are in control of the market, okay? So algorithms are in control. That's all you know. So even if we get a bad GDP, if you see that puts are way too expensive when GDP comes out bad, they're going to push stocks higher until it is cheaper for them to go short. That's really what will happen. And here, I got the coin here, but you guys have to just trust me. You have to just trust me that I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to flip it, and then I'm going to flip it over onto my hand afterwards, right? So here we go. Let's see. Magical coin. Is Nvidia going to end up higher or lower? Is the reaction going to be good or bad after earnings? Oh God, guys, it was heads. It was heads. Looks like Nvidia is going to report good numbers. Now remember, just because Nvidia is going to report good numbers and that reaction is going to be good, what's the reaction by the end of the day? Does the coin get the full reaction right? Remember that one time it got the reaction right from Tesla, but then a few hours later, that whole reaction was given up. It caught the Tesla 6-point move. AMC is about to rip. Hey, I hope so. It already is, man. Look at that. If you just paid attention to what we said in our Patreon video this afternoon, there you go. There was your buy. You see and the buy signal isn't what we follow. We don't follow this stupid little buy thing. We just go like this. Boom, green bar on the histogram. That means get the in, because this thing is going to be going up from here. So that was how you read the signals here. That's how you read the signals here. This is the first big step here, curling up on the MACD. Then the next bar, we go positive. Then the next bar, we have to take out resistance. We have to take out resistance. And then we have to take out the main resistance. 739 going to be the main resistance we got to take care of. Now, GME is still suffering. That's very interesting that AMC's pumping a little bit, and we're not necessarily seeing anything from GME. Very interesting. And this is it. Like, this is what I think could be the situation as well. I don't think they want to admit that this, like, if this is some kind of short seller scandal, I don't think they'll want to admit that that was what actually causes the market to come down. I think they'll say, oh, it was Nvidia earnings. But no, I think that this might actually be the scandal that does it. Now we have to pay attention. Is this going to be some kind of fake pump? Is this going to be blah, blah, blah? You know, you just want to watch it from here, but just know this thing can run. We gave you weekly ranges for AMC, and if you get above that, that's when the squeeze potential is higher. Is my mic off? Okay, no, it's on. Okay, so the coin did say 50-50 flip. Since earnings are a 50-50 flip, we do a 50-50 flip with a coin. So the coin did say Nvidia will go have a positive reaction. But is that reaction given up? Just because you get a positive reaction doesn't mean that it can't fade. We'll pay attention. We'll pay attention. That's all we can do. Now, guys, I did just want to notify you right now. This is going to really put a blip in everything. The couch people, the furniture company just called me, and they said they're going to be here in like 10 minutes. So I'm going to stick on here as long as I can, and then I'll have to hop off and do an update video for you guys tonight, all right? I know you're getting a bunch of wonky videos, but this is good. It's good to test out the new system here. It seems like my Wi-Fi is pretty good. As long as everyone's happy in here, you guys, nothing's glitching anymore. Look at this. Nothing is glitching, but I don't have my full setup plugged in. We'll see once the full setup's in there. So I'm going to go for about 10 more minutes, okay? 10 more minutes here, and then we can... 10 more minutes, and then I have to really go upstairs. I have to, because baby girl's sleeping, so I have to take care of the furniture, guys. I'm sorry about that, and I'll give you an update video tonight. I'll make some updated daily ranges, just like we always do. But no, just remember, Patreon is not about daily ranges. Patreon's not about that. We give those away on Patreon on Thursday when we can give it away for all the stocks that we cover for Fridays, right? So Thursday night, you get those daily ranges. But just know that, you know, overall, we're dedicated to really helping learn, really helping create good habits. And day trading, just from a probability perspective, is not a good habit. But there are times where a trade will seem like a day trade, right? You can still sell that same day or the next day. 48 hours is what I would say. But as long as you have that further out expiration, you'll save yourself a lot. You'll save a lot. Oh my God, that's a big move, guys. Did the 2-hour curl up? That's a big, there we go. That's what you wanted. You see what I mean? 30-minute goes positive. So now you want to see, is the 2-hour able to confirm this crossing? This is going to be the big thing here. Is the 2-hour going to confirm this? It's been locked up for a while. That might be huge. And everything can sell off. I mean, I was looking at Bitcoin earlier today, Sakar. I was looking at Bitcoin earlier, just showing you guys how this thing really looking like it wants to cup and handle, actually. But if this thing crosses down, that's negative territory. You could take out these lows. So this is really where we have to be on our toes, and we really have to keep checking on this. I need to add it to my list. But you have to keep checking on this. This is, it looks like a flag, but if that just gets one bar like this, like takes out, I would say this price point here, 71.11, like you take that out and then you lose the 20, boom, you might have this go to the 50, and then maybe we see a reaction back up, get that call side really pumped. Call side's still going higher here. One cool thing that I found, a cool statistic that somebody ran, and it was not a person, it was like a firm or someone, some kind of firm ran. They said that 33% of trading occurs, like 33% of all the trading during the day occurs in the last hour of trading. So this last hour, you're going to get 30% of the trading going on. I'm sorry, guys, but you know, this is the one time we got to watch AMC. That's a good move, and you have all the confirmations for momentum now. So if you took the course, you were treating this like an actual trade. This is everything you would look for. Everything you would look for right here. My goodness, that is a move if I've ever seen one. Let's see if it fades by the end of the day. Let's see if it fades by the end of the day. You have the opportunity here for short sellers to cover in after hours or pre-market tomorrow, but we'll see. What is the word on the street? That was 2 hours ago. Looks like that news might be all they needed. So this doesn't look like the short sellers covering yet. Just remember that. That doesn't. This is what that looks like. This doesn't look like it. You don't have the volume. But if I've been looking at dark pools. If you look at dark pools, you're like, oh my god, the amount of volume that's been traded with AMC and GME. You know that they're scrambling a little bit. So they're going to try to force this stuff down. Once I have my full setup, we'll have a page on my other screen that can tell us when halts are happening and things like that as well. All right, let's go back over to Nvidia. Let's just check this out for a little bit. Someone's got to keep me updated about AMC. If that starts to even go more wild, we'll have to see if that actually happens. But as of right now, what's happening? Nvidia starting to buy back up. This Nvidia starting to buy back up, but that call side's still looking a little high, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see if they produce some good money, some good earnings, and then we'll do a full breakdown tonight for you guys. The only thing I don't like about the further hour expiration is that it doesn't let you get all your monies. It doesn't let you get your money's worth. Well, that depends on what you're talking about when you say money's worth. Well, I think you said money's worth. Because what you're saying is, so what I'm saying is, you're saving yourself the potential of being wrong. If you're saying this move has to happen in the next 2 days, then you're saying this move has to happen in the next 2 days. But if you're saying this move has a high potential of happening in the next 2 days, but just in case I'm going to take out a 2-week play, you can do 2 weeks. If it's only like a 30-minute divergence outside of stuff and you see the put call ratio and you're like, okay, I'm going to take this. Okay, take 2 weeks. Like I know something about Apple. Apple, if you take a 2-week play because of a 30-minute signal, see this 30-minute signal, you take this play. Do you know how much you need Apple to go down in order to make good money? About 2%. About 2% will double your money. This is 1%. That's 2%. So you would need that to happen in, say, 2 days. Now, if you did have that expiration, you're saying, hey, what if I have the earlier expiration? This might have doubled your money really quickly, and you can get out and see this bounce and be done. But if this didn't happen right away, what if it went like this, and then you only made 30%, and then it just goes back like this, and then by the time you're here, now you maybe only make 50%. So it just depends. It's like, your money's worth is what the option is. So what I do, why I like taking 2 weeks to 2 months out, is because I know I can potentially double $1,000. I can potentially double $3,000. I can potentially double $5,000. And if I'm wrong, it's not going to hurt me as bad. What if Apple just did this? What if Apple didn't break down at all? And it came back up and went to this level by the end of the day. It just went to this level. And then you're like, shit, I'm going to lose a bunch. And then it drops a little bit and you're like, no, I'm going to make it. And then it double tops. And then you get to Friday and you're like, oh, crap. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that was the best way to look at it. I look at regular hours, the real time. So the regular trading hours. I like regular trading hours, but I will pay attention to the futures on the daily and the 2 hour and the 4 hour. Okay, because this will cross before the actual market most of the time, right? So I can pay attention to this if I'm trying to hold a play. So if I'm like, I see a 30-minute, 2 hour divergence on the SPY, what I can do is see, is the SPX 500, is that actually crossing to the downside? Okay, now I can be pretty confident that there's going to be a little bit, at least a little bit more downside there. That's how I look into it. As far as adding the extended hours in, the volume that you get in the extended hours isn't the best, so I don't think it's the best amount of data to use as far as the charts go. So like, but if you took this, like, okay, so for example, if you took this, I believe even a month out, and it just made this like 1.5% or 1% move down, pretty sure you're already 50% in the green there. And you're like, all right, 50% solid. So even if you take a month out, you can make 50%. 50% is a lot, guys. But I understand, Drew. I understand. So if you're going to do these things, like 2 weeks is my minimum. 2 weeks is my minimum position I'll take. You're live. Yeah, I'm live, but I don't have the full setup. I just saw how the market was looking, and I'm very worried about it. So after this video, also, I'm going to, you know, I always say, I'm like, if volatility starts to turn up, I think we're going to find a top sometime, maybe even in May. But this could extend on into June. So what I want to do is I've been getting emails about the course, people being like, hey, when's your next sale and stuff like that. So I'm going to do a sale on the course. Maybe for a little bit in June. I don't know how long I'm going to do it, but people want to bring back the $99 course. And so we might do that. All right, guys, the people are here. So I'm sorry that I have to hop off and I can't give you that 15-minute breakdown. I'm really, really sorry about that. But if we're trading like water, we're going to be just fine. I'll give you guys an update video tonight. All right, I appreciate you guys. Have a good day, and I'll talk